Now, one examination paper in mathematics is daunting enough to most kids. Now, thanks to a leaked exam paper, 200,000 Indian children in the 10th standard will have to take the exam all over again. Even though the leak happened in Delhi, children all over the country are being penalized for no fault of theirs. Parents are furious. Children are tired. But back to swatting all over again. India is an emerging superpower, and is such shoddy administration forgivable? Senior foreign editor Padma Rao looks at how education has steadily slid down on the list of priorities and how the biggest sufferers are India's children themselves.
Blame it on Lord Macaulay, the rabidly racist British colonial official who overhauled Indian education from 1845 onwards with a controversial idea. Earlier years of British colonial education had been accompanied by conversion, and Indians had begun to protest. London went into a huddle, and that's when Macaulay's idea was born. One of introducing English and Western sciences to replace India's ancient learning and infuse India's elite alone with so much Britishness that they would become zombified brown sahibs and carry forth their master's message to millions of quote-unquote illiterate vernacular natives. The idea was that soon the British would truly dominate every inch of India. But India's elite, including many famous heroes like Mahatma Gandhi, Jawaharlal Nehru and others, had different plans. They took the education, but instead of spreading British culture and turning their brethren into brown sahibs, they spread the seed of freedom instead, and proudly independent India was born. Independence meant neither the death of British curricula nor of the English language in India. Those lingered as long as it took for India to find her young feet. But by the late 60s, an indigenous education system that included all economic and social categories of Indians in both English and regional language instruction was born. By 1986, a national policy on education had been formulated. Its professed goals were to increase productivity, develop social and national unity, consolidate democracy, modernize the country, and develop social, moral, and spiritual values. But on the heels of this week's scandal of the leaked mathematics examination paper, Indian parents are looking back over more than 70 years. They're up in arms and they're demanding a radical overhaul of all that makes the Indian child's school years more torturous and less pleasurable. The grouses are many. Curricula are not uniform across India, and being in political or semi-political hands, there is plenty of subtle and not so subtle selectivity and manipulation of what goes into those textbooks. There are too many state and central educational boards, and that flies in the face of the professed national unity. There is too much official control on what and how a subject is to be taught, leaving little or no room for teachers in the classroom to improvise according to the needs of one's students. And finally, there is plenty of abuse of tax incentives offered to those who start schools. According to a 2014 investigation by CRPCC, $7.4 billion of black money is generated by such blatant abuse every year. Leaks of examination papers are certainly not unknown in history, but in most parts of the world, such leaks are history themselves. In India, hardly a year goes by without shameful theft of the lowest variety, that of exam papers. Indian kids are exhausted and disappointed, and Indian parents have angry but legitimate questions. Even if it is argued that India is huge, that monitoring all exams all over the country is difficult, why are certain basic precautions not adhered to? WION asks the question and predicts the answers. The Central Board of Education reportedly learned of the leak the evening before the all-important maths exam. Why did it take no action? The answer, predictably, would be that it was too short a notice. But if leaks are so common in a huge country, aren't alternative papers prepared for each subject? This will be met either by silence or a vigorous claim that alternative papers are indeed available. But if they were, why were they not distributed immediately after the leak of the maths paper earlier this week? The response will again be that it is not possible to do that overnight to all examination centres across India. Very well, but someone must answer why then is it not Standard Operating Procedure SOP to distribute alternative papers along with the intended exam paper well ahead of the exam? To that, and even in an emerging and fast digitalizing superpower like India, one can only expect to be met with more excuses. India's children are overburdened and not enjoying their childhoods. There are too many books, too much in the books, too little physical activity in curricula, too much emphasis on achievement, and a don't give a damn attitude among educational boards for the mental torture that children, no matter how resilient, have to undergo when their dreams and hard work come crashing down due to yet another act of callous inefficiency. The kids in question who have to repeat exams now will survive for sure, but their spirit and belief in what and who is educating them may not. It's time to act, or lose generations of brilliant young minds to early cynicism forever. Padma Rao, Beyond.